Okay, so last episode was the big turning point of the series, what scholars may refer to as the call to adventure. It's not that. And yeah, your husband tells you that he is going to Paris with another woman, and your response to that is to cajole him for sex and then prepare his breakfast for him. Awesome. Love that for you. Girl bossing it. So, yeah, I think Marianne's, worldview has been thoroughly shattered. Let's see what emerges from this development in episode 4 of Scenes from a Marriage, a 1973 television series slash film by director Ingmar Bergman, observing the nuances and the crises of marriage through the lens of one Swedish couple. Let's watch episode 4. And before we get started, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. These episodes are compact. This is a very easy watch. There was a lot to digest in Fanny and Alexander, but they were also only 4 episodes expressing 4 seasons. These are pretty close to television episodes, and they kind of play in that convention of television episodes. And so that's an interesting kind of dichotomy, playing in terms of conventions of something that you watch in a living room at home, and perhaps trying to elicit thought or ideas that have greater potency to them than things that you would get on your TV screen. Veil of Tears, that's not good. Marianne is feeling herself now. Hopefully she's not feeling herself because of Johan. Don't do it. Do not show his face. Somebody else. Please be somebody else.
Sötlig. Vilken fin blus. Komiskt. Det var ju så länge sedan du gjorde ett
He's too used to having her in his life daily.
Paula i London en vecka.
Okay, get the fuck off of her.
Jag menar, det kunde vara jobbigt att träffa barnen också.
Johan, I don't know if you're trying to project the appearance of being nice and warm, but your intentions of wanting to sleep with your ex-wife are so clear.
Hon är så vansinnigt svartsjuk. Ja, men vad vill du att jag ska göra åt det idag?
Men det är så förbaskat feg att du inte kan tala om för henne hur du själv vill ha.
He is a coward. Yes, indeed. He can't do anything for himself.
Förlåt mig.
Jag måste bekänna att jag blir oerhört kåt när vi är så här nära varandra.
Yeah, human beings are weird.
Inte han en av dina närmaste vänner.
Nej, inte precis hur så.
Låter så belåt.
Because this is what we do with our friends. We laugh at them behind their back. We secretly hate them. All these things that just go unsaid and maintain the facade of social niceties.
Gott vin.
Kära du, det är inget märkt.
Jag har haft god nytta av Paula. Hon har lärt mig ett annat om mig själv som kunde vara bra att veta.
I don't want to know. I don't want to
Men nu får
know.
jag nog.
I don't want to know.
Om jag ska vara riktigt ärlig så är jag rätt trött på henne. Ja, du tycker kanske jag är illojal som sitter här och pratar skit om Paula, men hon har förverkat min lojalitet för länge sedan.
And this is another lie that he tells her, that he's telling Paula that he flits around and is honest with everybody else. He's fed up with Paula. He doesn't tell her. He tells everybody else. Anybody who wants to know.
Det bästa med Paula var att hon lärde mig skrika och bråka. Det var...
I'm wondering what lesson Marianne will take away from this. Is she going to learn that she has to fight for Johan? Or is she going to learn that she has to fight for herself?
Det kan passa att vi talar lite om vår skilsmässa. Ska du ha något att dricka?
Nej, tack.
This repeated blocking choreography of them sitting it's really interesting. It's so mechanical. They keep on repeating this instance of them getting up and sitting down.
Huset spricker i alla fogar. Fönsterna blåser så att...
Oh no, is your place not great? That sucks. It's actually a huge financial burden to get a divorce and have to pay alimony.
Inga toaletter fungerade.
But this is the life you wanted.
Tunnelbanan går man ogärna ner efter 8:00 på kvällen. Det försåtliga är bara att du då och då drabbas av en illusion om gemenskap. Då blir det
People say fucking weird things when they're trying to get laid. He's like making this ploy. Perhaps he's being emotionally transparent, but he's attacking her with his worldview in which everybody is vulnerable and alone and lonely. And it's like trying to make him project this idea of him being lonely and wanting her attention and affection, but it's also instilling in her, trying to instill in her the fear that she's alone and she's vulnerable. This is also an example of something that he previously liked in Marianne. And you're already seeing the worm turn. You're seeing something that was admirable or virtuous somehow turn into something bad. He talked about how much he loved how hot-blooded and political Marianne was when she was younger. And now that he has to actually live with that, it seems like it's a burden on him. Those are your words. She didn't say that. Jesus Christ. Who the fuck is giving off airs? I'll say this about Johan. He's at least pretty honest about how much he doesn't like women.
Du ska veta att jag tänker på dig hela tiden. Och undrar om du har det bra.
You don't need to do this.
Eller om du är rädd och ensam.
Marianne, you don't need to do this.
Varje dag, flera gånger om dagen. Undrar jag vad jag gjorde för fel så att det blev som det blev mellan oss.
I admire how much you care about this relationship.
Jag vet att det är barnsligt sätt att tänka. Jag tänker så i alla fall.
But the man in front of you is not worth it.
Så jag har inte sovit på några nätter och så det är väl spänningen också lite grann.
Om du vill gå hem så får du gärna göra det.
Men var inte dum.
Yeah, you should go. She brings up something that's actually happening in her life, something that she's experienced. You get fucking bored. You just want to fucking bone.
Mycket hellre sitta här och höra dig berätta om dina resor i ditt liv.
Ja, vänta ett tag alltså. Ska jag hämta boken?
Yeah, he really doesn't care about what's in her notebooks. He's just trying to get laid.
Typiskt nu när jag äntligen ska få träffa dig efter så lång tid.
That whip pan.
Det är fantastiskt söt. Verkligen.
Please assert your boundaries. You two can like have sex or whatever. It's none of my business. But if you guys are going to have a relationship again with each other, you need to clear up these boundaries that you want to set for yourself. Please be more firm about this. You want to talk about your soul with him.
Jag har tänkt på det hela tiden. Hur det skulle bli om vi låg med varandra. Jag tänkte på hur det skulle bli efteråt. Jag menar när du går din väg. Står jag där och längtar efter dig igen och jag vill inte ha det så.
Yeah, you need to be able to talk with
Jag är
him.
kär i dig, Johan. Förstår inte det.
Jesus.
Ibland hatar jag dig för vad du har gjort mot mig. Jag vet inte.
I want to cry out to Marianne.
Jag vill inte leva med någon annan än dig.
I understand, based on my reading, that from her perspective, it's incredibly intoxicating being wanted, being needed by somebody else, and other men can't fulfill that function.
Jag säger inte det här för att det är dåligt samvete eller för att utsätta dig för någon känslomässig utpressning.
But you need to be able to state, you need to be able to express what you want and have that given to you.
Då blir det alldeles omöjligt och sen går det din väg igen.
Jag är ju fortfarande kär i dig.
Varför säger du så? Det är ju inte
Really, why? Think about the things that you're saying, please. Please think about what you're saying before you say them. You just want to get laid, that's fine. Just be honest about that. Don't put in these words that'll help you win a situation, but will destroy your ability to trust each other.
inte hemskt dumt, Marianne. Marianne.
Johan, jag vill inte. Johan, jag vill absolut inte. Jag vill inte gå här och tråna, gråta, längta efter dig. Johan, du får försöka förstå det. Det är verkligen så, Johan.
Jag försöker ju förstå, fast jag förstår inte.
She doesn't want to have sex with you. She wants a real relationship with you. Do you want a real relationship with her? Don't press it if you don't.
Nu sitter jag ju här. Jag sitter här och så...
I say this to myself as well, because it happens in your life. But if you don't actually want a relationship, don't press it. It's a sales tactic. He's been so outstandingly rejected. He needs to get his foot in the door, so he asks for a simple thing that she can do. I don't want to pin this as all being like Johan being emotionally manipulative and gaslighting or whatever. It's because this dynamic between them, this established relationship between them, is so powerful and so intoxicating to both of them that it's just so incredibly easy to fall back into it, especially if you haven't really thought about yourself and thought about your needs and what you really want out of this relationship. And because Marianne was the betrayed party, because her entire worldview was shattered, she's more ready to understand what she actually wants out of this relationship and where it kind of failed that previously. And to Johan, it seems like it wasn't as broken. It seems like he could just slip back into those old
familiar places.
easy ways of relating.
Plötsligt vände jag mig om och tittade på den gamla bilden av min skolklass när jag var 10 år. Jag tyckte jag var kommit på något som länge legat förberett, men ändå ogripbart. Med förvåning måste jag konstatera
I didn't recognize her.
att jag inte vet vem jag är.
She's got it. She understands.
Så långt jag kan minnas tillbaka har jag varit lydig, välanpassad,
She understands what's going on with her.
Om jag tänker efter hade jag några häftiga utbrott av självhävdelse som liten flicka. Men jag minns också att mamma straffade alla sådana avsteg från konventionen med exemplarisk stränghet.
Yeah.
Så småningom
The severity of
upptäckte jag
orthodoxy. You have
att om jag
to
hemlighöll vad jag
conform.
tänkte och istället blev inställsam och förutseende gav ett sådant uppförande utdelning.
She understands this about herself.
Alla mina tankar, känslor och handlingar kretsade kring erotik. Men jag förrådde inte detta med ett enda ord till någon.
And so these ravenous desires for
till någon
sex
överhuvudtaget.
get like transformed,
Sedan
get
utvecklades
fixed
lögnen,
into this
hemlighållandet,
concept
bortvändheten
of
av bara
love,
farten.
of relationships, of fidelity.
Min far ville att jag skulle bli jurist som han själv.
If you can turn it into this socially acceptable form, then maybe you can get the thing that you actually want. So long as you subsume your actual needs into a socially acceptable
Sen har min
form,
förställning bara tilltagit.
then maybe you can get what you want.
I mitt förhållande till andra människor.
And so you just keep on
I
faking.
förhållande till
You
män.
keep on faking a version of
Samma
yourself.
konstanta förställning. Jag har aldrig tänkt, vad är det jag vill? Utan alltid, vad vill han att jag ska vilja?
She completely
Det är
understands.
ju inte någon osjälviskhet som jag trodde förut, utan rena fegheten. Och vad värre är, en fullständig okunnighet om vem jag själv
I wonder if a male audience watching this in 1974 would understand the emotional weight of this monologue. I think they would understand it conceptually, that it's a bad thing to feel like you are at the service of other people for your entire life. But I wonder if they can watch this movie and understand that this is something that she's been doing this entire time, and the ways that it's been constricting her and the ways in which it's made her
För att
insufferable to
köpa en
Johan.
yttre trygghet kräver den ett högt pris. Accepterandet av en fortlöpande personlighetsförstöring. Det dåliga samvetet.
Because, like, I mean, we exist in a patriarchal society. It's really hard to kind of understand the position of women in these circumstances. But, like, I watch Before Midnight, I watch Marriage Story, and while nominally they throw a bone in terms of, I understand that this is the condition that the women are going through, it never feels rational. It always feels like it's like, okay, I understand your perspective, or I support your feelings, but I don't quite understand them. Because the way that the women act in those always feels irrational. It always feels like there's suddenly this big explosion that comes out of nowhere, and there's nothing in the movie that makes you really understand that this is something that they've had to live with for their entire life. For like a male viewer or a patriarchal viewer, these acts of service feel like it's just the last act that you did, whether or not you made the choice to be obedient or not. It's just the last thing that you did. And they can't see an entire lifetime that they've had to do this. This is what happens with Johan. There needs to be a way to express this experience to male viewers, to a patriarchal viewer. And I include myself in this. This world is not going to become any less cruel if we can't try and understand what's happening in somebody else's body and somebody else's mind. Yeah, sitting has been a repeated motif in this episode. The kind of like different like physical distances this couple portrays with each other, ways in which they're in concord with each other, ways in which they're in discord. And this presents kind of like a neutral space of them kind of like sitting down with each other.
Nej, han har inte ens försökt kyssa mig.
And she's lied to him now, her future husband, and you wonder if it's like for his benefit or for hers. There's an interesting dynamic at play where the prospective fiance is displaying jealousy towards her, and you wonder if that's fulfilling the need that she has to serve another man, or if it's not like as quite as powerful or quite as fulfilling as the passive-aggressive way in which Johan expresses need and expresses dominance. And there's just this whole other story of whether or not Marianne understands her own condition and whether or not she can move on from it, and whether or not she wants to.
Jag tycker du ska gå hem och sova nu. Jag är inte alls sårad. Jag lovar.
By the way, I do not doubt that Johan is exhausted. I don't mean just exhausted tonight. I mean that he's at his last nerve, that he's extended himself out too far, and he's just trying to find solid land again. From my point of view, though, this isn't the way to do it. You can't wait. You can't keep things in stasis like this. I hate that little chip in that door. I hate it. I hate it. I hate that little chip in that door. Because you know what? It's never gonna get fixed. There's a certain point when you're watching a Greek tragedy, when you're reading of Mice and Men, when you're seeing a play by Shakespeare, where you realize, I know how this is gonna end. We've hit it. There's a certain point where characters' behaviors, characters' internal logic, and how they manifest that is so rooted. You know what they're going to do. You know they don't have any other choice. What are you supposed to do at that point?
Jag kan inte tala nu.
Because I'm going to have sex with my ex.
Vi har gått och lagt oss om du absolut vill veta. Ja, det förstår jag. Vad vill du jag ska säga då?
At a certain point, the human heart wants what it wants. And what are you supposed to say?
Det vet jag inte.
The things that it wants are so stupid, though.
Nej, men försök nu en enda gång i ditt liv att reagera som en vuxen människa. Det är tråkigt alltihop.
I mean, he really shouldn't have called. I also get that point, that he was doing a purity test on her. And you know what? You should do that. Because she's emotionally raw right now. And she's going to seek out what's comfortable. I don't even care about the lover. But that entire journal entry. And he fell asleep. Say something. Say something. You need to say what you need.
Ibland frågar du så in i helvetet om så jag bara lust att slå ihjäl.
Förlåt för aldrig.
This is also Johan asserting a purity test. He needs her to certify his love. He needs her to choose him over her lover in explicit terms, in the way that she chose him over a future child. And she bustles up against it. She bristles against it. Is this the moment where she realizes? Or is this the moment she goes back? This is something in male behavior that I have to realize, the ways that we make purity tests for our partners, or for our lovers, or for our friends, and we create enough deniability by doing it passively.
Marianne, vad är det?
Det är så förödmjukande.
Vad är det som är förödmjukande?
Having to debase yourself for him. Marianne, you can pull out of this.
Jag tänker på dig.
At any point in this, you can say no.
Och jag tänker på framtiden. Jag förstår inte hur du ska klara dig utan mig här i världen.
Oh my god.
Han lever på mitt ansvar.
Oh my god.
Det är min uppgift att se till att Johan har det bra. Bara då får mitt liv en vettig mening. Man måste ha någon att hålla i handen.
This is how I've watched women die.
Jag tror vi gör fel. Jag tror att vi ska arbeta på det.
And in his own way, he feels humiliated and infantilized in this relationship. But in another way, he can't function without her. It is like a disgusting cycle. I can also see from his perspective how horrifically Oedipal this is.
Kära Marianne, jag blir antagligen förvånad över att få ett brev för jag vill genast säga
Women looking after women. You love to see it.
Jag vet att Johan kommer söka upp dig i samma ögonblick som jag försvinner.
Marianne, you're better than this! Oh my fucking god!
Skriver att hon vill att vi ska bli vänner. Att hon inte står ut med finskap och tystnad.
Ja, det är ju gripande. Mest gripande är att du tror henne.
Han saknar alldeles självförtroende.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense, that he's been made to feel like a child. He's been infantilized in this relationship.
Jag har märkt att man kan säga vad som helst och vem som helst. På något sätt stämmer det allt.
So he doesn't know how to function. Big old baby. Big old terrible fucking baby. It's a mother creating a child that will kill her. That's the image of marriage that this movie is projecting. Which I think is so much more incisive than what is really being expressed in the movies that this is influenced.
Det är alltså Liv Ullmann och Erland Josephson som har skådespelat. Sven Nykvist som har fotograferat.
I'm exhausted. Get me out of this, please. I can't imagine. I can partially imagine because Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac are both tremendous actors, but the creator of the remake, Haggai Levy, is a fine student of the human condition and of the human mind. He was the creator of Beauty Pool, the series that got remade into In Treatment, and you may or may not like In Treatment, but I think his tenure as the showrunner on In Treatment, his work with Sarah Tree, I think they did The Affair together. It's incredibly thorough investigations of the human mind. I mean, I think of the characterization of Sophie in season 1 of In Treatment, the characterization of all of them, but just what I really respond to in Levy's work and Treem's work is human beings acting against their health, acting against not against their better judgment, because they don't have better judgment, but acting against their own self-interest because they don't have a full view of themselves, and they can't reconcile a full view of themselves because it would mean admitting something that they don't want to admit. There's this one flaw. If there's this one flaw of your humanity, of your personhood, it's something that you already know. You just can't admit to it. You can't admit that it's true of you. You can't admit that something happened to you. You can't admit that something is true about you, because if you admit it, then you would be put in a position to have to try and change it or to try and address it, and so you ignore it, and you ignore it at the cost of everything else in your life. Your one major flaw is the thing that you would sacrifice everything else in your life to maintain the illusion of. And so that's Haggai Levy for me, and perhaps that's also Ingmar Bergman. Yeah. Every episode seems to get worse and worse. You watch your friends, you watch people that you love, you watch characters on a screen repeat mistakes, and you cry from a window, from a wall, from somewhere in the distance. You know this thing about yourself. You can change. I believe in you. And then they don't. Same words could be said of you yourself. That was episode 4. Fuck. Let's see what happens in episode 5. Until then, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. And until next episode, keep watching good movies.